Good day to you all. Welcome to the presentation, the webinar called Applications Performance Management for Mobile Applications. You will find that today's session is brought to you by the Vivid Business Service Management Special Interest Group and the Vivid Mobile Special Interest Groups. I'm Doug Stone. I'm helping present this presentation today. So I'll be assisting with answering or passing on the questions to Kapil, and I'm a chapter SIG in Melbourne, Australia. And today's presenter is Kapil Cole, who is Director for Operations at HP Software, Operations Product Business for HP Software, and he's responsible for the development of HP Operations Software business in the Asia Pacific and Japan region. Kapil has extensive experience in designing IT business service management solutions for small and large enterprises, and he's based in Gurgaon, NCR, India. I think that's correct, so I'll have to forgive me if I got that name wrong. All right, so just some housekeeping. Today's live session is for Vivid members, and the recording will be posted on Vivid's webinar section on the Business Service Management and Mobile SIG pages. So if you want to look at them later, you'll be able to find them there. It's visible to all Vivid members. Additionally, the recording will be made available directly to you, and they'll send you a link to your email addresses once they are posted on the Vivid website. If you have questions as we go along, type them in the question pane in the webinar control panel on the right-hand side, and we'll ask those questions at the end of the presentation from Kapil. So you'll see there the webinar control panel, and you can toggle between full screen and window mode for the slides. You'll also see there the questions where you can type in your question into that box there. All right, so now I'll hand it over to Kapil.
Thank you, Doug, and welcome everyone to this session today about application performance management for mobile. Let me just start by talking about the three big disruptive forces at work that we see today in enterprises. The first one is cloud, second one is mobile, and the third one is DevOps. What is interesting is that the influx of mobile devices in both enterprises and consumer space has led to a whole bunch of applications being developed which are being serviced through the medium of cloud, or applications being offered to the consumers or enterprise employees through mobile. As a result, there has been a shift in the way application teams and operations team interact with each other, because mobile and cloud has brought in a new dimension of agility, which would mean that more and more applications that are being offered on mobile would be feature-rich, they will be custom-built, and they'll be very specific to that particular use case. And they will be offered at a much continuous delivery cycle, faster delivery cycle than we did in the traditional mechanism in the past. So it is not surprising that newer enterprises, about 85% of the applications which are being built are also being accessed for built for cloud. The amount of ratio of devices, mobile devices to PCs has significantly increased. Let's see what's happening in the data centers for yourself and the larger enterprises today. In this new world of mobility and cloud, the agile development methodology is rapidly taking roots, and as a result of which the applications are built on a whole set of new diverse languages running on different runtimes for the data centers. This is to make sure that those applications are current, feature-rich, and available for the devices that suit the purpose for the businesses. A whole shift in the way and the underlying platforms are being brought into the data center, and also compounded with the fact that a whole this entire infrastructure is being shifted to either the virtualization data centers or onto the cloud in order to give the flexibility to expand out based on the business demand. Now, as you can imagine, the data center is extremely complex and serving consumers who are not anymore in thousands, but sometimes for some organizations they can even run into millions. And therefore, it's important that the applications are managed in altogether new fashion, making sure that the technologies that are offering services to the end users are being monitored at a very detailed level and not just from an infrastructure point of view.
Just excuse
what
me,
we do see is that
there's been a question about the quality of the voice. Now I'm going to send a message to people asking whether or not they get the voice, so whether it's clear enough for them. So if you continue, and then if people just look in the messages section, it's better to send an email. Oh, sorry, send a text in that question section. And if people can't hear the voices clearly, could they please let us know? Thank you.
Thank you. The other dimension that we see today is that that all trends bend to the user, which would mean that this adoption of mobile by the end users are making sure that IT managers start to keep the end user in their mind rather than the data center in their mind, the availability of the data center. They need to keep in mind the end user and the richness of the application for the end user. Today we see that the rate of application release is increased, the velocity is increased, and this is spread across cloud and on-premise applications as well, but mostly hybrid environments where there's a mix of on-premise as well as cloud. And the transactions per day also significantly increased because the number of users who access mobile devices is significantly high. So from the point of view of IT, the amount of data and the amount of transactions that they are currently interacting with from a mobility solution is much higher than it was done in a traditional data center with clients accessing through standard PCs and web clients. Because mobile applications are essential for businesses to generate revenue, they need to deliver on the promise of quality for the end users. Therefore, they should have features which will allow the end users to generate more business for the enterprises. Also, they should have constant update on the way applications interact with the customers to create new engagement models. They should be able to generate customer loyalty and satisfaction. Therefore, the quality of the application would be the first point of indication for satisfaction. And at the same time, they should support the productivity and the efficiency of the organizations from an employee point of view. What is important is that for every such application, it is important for us to get an visibility into the end user experience of this application from a mobile point of view. It is not enough to understand the application just from the data center point of view, but from the end mobile point of view, and that is key to delivering these promises. But then there are hurdles that we know. The new style of user experience is based on not just a PC browser, but a whole set of devices out there with variety of operating systems and browsers. And this integration from the back-end data centers or the cloud to the devices is also bringing in a whole lot of new protocols that deliver such applications and experience to end user. So the important point out here is that while the end user experience is important, for the IT data center and the IT managers, keeping the services available in this complex new dimension of mobile becomes one of the most difficult tasks for the IT data centers today because of the new technologies which are being brought in. Why does application performance matter? In case anyone has a doubt, 79% of shoppers who are dissatisfied on a recent survey claim that they are less likely to buy from the same site again. So it's important to understand that the mobile application availability is and experience is directly related to the revenue that the company generates. Bad experience would mean loss of revenue. It also is important from the point of view of operational expense because performing application would mean that there are lesser number of interface, lesser number of people interacting with the end customer, and end customers are able to get the services and goods that they ask for directly from the application. What is also important is we need to understand the SLAs that we deliver to our customers in order to ensure that we are above the bar and not falling below over a period of time, which can get unnoticed till we really see customers and revenues dropping. If we have to understand mobile application performance, there are 5 key dimensions that we must keep in mind. The first dimension is definitely the end user experience from the mobile device. It should mean understanding how the end user is receiving the speed and the throughput of the application from the type of device that they could be using. The second one is understanding each and every transaction, which is the profiling of the transaction. An application in today's mobile world is typically built as a composite application. It would have multiple interfaces in the back end to various enterprise applications or even to applications outside of the enterprise data center. Could be sourcing services from external providers as well. So each transaction in itself could be complex, and it's important to understand whether the end user experience is impacted because of the device or because of a certain transaction in the entire value chain. The third step is to understand the deep diagnostics, which is to make sure we understand if there is a certain code which is actually causing a problem. This could even be a simple command like fetching information from the database, which could be one simple line in the entire thousands of lines inside the code, which could have got updated and now started to create a problem in application performance. So understanding up to the level of the code through diagnostics. The fourth important dimension is to understand the dependency of the application with each other, which is understanding how a web server is interacting or a series of web servers is interacting with the application server. And applications are interacting with the backend servers or services which are coming in from external sources. And since we collect this whole set of data which is of immense value, we should have the ability to analyze, identify patterns such that we can predict before time if there is going to be an impact to the user because of an anomaly in the normal pattern of services that we have detected. And this is a very powerful capability that we need to bring in to this entire dimension of mobile experience management, because we need to keep in mind that mobile applications directly impact the revenue of the customer and also customer satisfaction. So before the service actually gets impacted, we need to have the capability to see if we can fix it before it actually impacts the end user. So that is predictive analytics. So those are the 5 key dimensions that we believe are very important for us to have in order to effectively deliver a performing mobile application. In the mobile domain, it becomes even more complex because pinpointing the issue isn't really easy. from the service which is either hosted in the data centers or in the cloud, being delivered over various carriers running within the country or across the globe, various service providers, whether it's an ISP or a telecom service provider, and being delivered either through browsers to the device or directly as a native application running on those devices. The problem becomes complex because the control shifts beyond the data center and the enterprise into cloud and consumers, which are spread over multiple different geographies and multiple different points of presence at any given point in time. And they are also mobile at that. What HP offers today is a complete insight into the whole mobile delivery value chain. It allows mobile application products to be monitored in a fashion such that we can pinpoint the root cause of slow or unavailable mobile applications quickly. We do this by actually monitoring all the key elements of the mobile value chain, which is the backend through to the carrier and back into the application at the front end. To give you more perspective of this, mobile applications are monitored from HP point of view in two different ways. From a synthetic, which is more proactive, testing the application from time to time, and real user experience, which would mean actually carrying information back from the mobiles for each and every user and making diagnostics out of the understanding the pattern and making sure that we understand each and every transaction. An example of the solution in production is Garanti Bank. Garanti Bank is one of the largest banks in Turkey, which offers mobile banking service to close to 70 to 80% of their subscribers, the banking customers. They use the solution to understand the issues that is being faced by the mobile application, and they delivered close to 80 to 90% reduction in problem detection by actually proactively monitoring mobile application services. The business benefits were in terms of increased service availability, but also more importantly, customer service levels, which was the satisfaction index that went up because of the experience that the end users were getting on this application. Another good example is United Airlines. This is a huge airline with very comprehensive routes across the world, and this is one of the most awarded banking mobile airline applications out there in the airline industry. Their goal was to improve availability and the mean time to repair any faults within this application, and they deployed the HP solution. About last year, they would take close to a full day to identify the issues that are causing the mobile application to perform under the SLAs, but now they take just 5 minutes on average to resolve the events. And that's a significant improvement in the mobile application that they're offering to the end customers in terms of availability and performance, and therefore improved customer satisfaction index. We announced 3 new mobile application monitoring solutions recently on Discover. The first one is the native mobile application monitor, which gives detailed level information of user experience from the device. We set out a probe on the device to give the application. We also enhanced our SaaS offering in mobile application monitoring by providing points of presence in multiple different locations across the world. In terms of the user flow analytics, this is a new ability that we have brought in our solution, where as we capture information from each and every real user, we are able to do analytics on top of it and make sense for various different personas inside the organization. I'll talk about each one of them briefly. The real user monitoring for mobiles is currently available for Android, and we will be soon launching version for iOS as well as the Windows platform. The problem it solves is basically bring visibility into the performance of the mobile applications which is running natively on the device. It is able to baseline the performance of the real user who is actually using the application and give a feedback to the development team about end user performance. The KPIs that it monitors is response times, availability, and it also provides inputs into user analytics like number of users, functionality used, functionality that is not used, so that application developers can make changes according to the needs of the end users as they see. There's more information available at our website that you can look up. The link is given at the bottom of the slide. The second ability that I talked about is the analytics. One of the important aspects of mobile application is that it is really built light. It's built for purpose. It's not a full enterprise application that is sent to a device. So if it is a banking application, the number of features that it offers is very limited and built for purpose for the banking services that the bank has to offer. But many times, application developers will develop application based on business requirement because the business feels there is a need. With user flow analytics, you can capture the flow of the transaction as is being frequently accessed by real users. It gives you a view into each and every session that is being conducted over the mobile application. And the report is based on HP's advanced algorithm developed by HP Labs, which provides you the capability to understand each and every transaction. If you look at the persona, if you look at who is going to actually benefit from this information, there are three key targets that we see. The first one is the business, marketing, basically the owners of the application, people who want the application to be sent out to the end users through mobile so that they can conduct business. They can understand common patterns, and these can also be used to track and define SLAs for that particular application based on their expectation for the application. For the monitoring team, they can discover the most common used transactions, and then therefore they can proactively monitor those transactions for higher availability so that users get the best experience out of those transactions by understanding the flows. And finally, to the testing team, they can generate load scenarios based on real flows that they are seeing coming in from the end users or from the production data. So instead of creating an hypothesis about how the end users are going to use the application, they can now have scenarios based on actual information coming in from the end user flow information. And that becomes a very powerful tool for all the three different personas to make the user experience better and improve it on a consistent basis. The next area is HP's software as a service over-the-air mobile monitoring capability. We launched our solution, Performance Anywhere, and I will encourage you to look up the site, hp.com/go/performance anywhere, and we do offer free trials for monitoring your applications from the self-service site. What we enhanced into the solution is the ability to get insight into wireless and carrier performance and availability. The issue that end users typically face is that they might get an excellent quality of service when they are actually using the service through an ISP and may not necessarily get the same quality of service through a certain wireless service provider. And it's important for the business owners to get visibility into such kind of user issues. And it's nearly impossible for an enterprise to set up their own monitoring solutions across the world in order to get the customer experience. What HP has done is exactly solve this problem for the enterprises today. We provide a SaaS global footprint across the world from different points of presence in the world. And there are more coming soon. As a result of which, by using the Performance Anywhere solution, you can configure to monitor the business application from these different points of presence in the world and understand how the application is behaving for the end users, either through an ISP, through which this application is being delivered, or at a location where the application is being monitored from, all through HP's global footprint for SaaS infrastructure. Now, if you look at the key values that our application performance management for mobile brings up, it provides three key capabilities that I talked about. The synthetic monitoring, using emulation of devices over the air, which would mean that we would understand proactively how the application is behaving. We can understand performance of the application using synthetic monitors or robots. And we can even identify the mobile carrier who has got an issue currently to deliver the service effectively. And we can do this both for native apps as well as browser-based solutions. For the real user, which is each and every user, we are able to understand the performance of the browser, which is the real user coming into the application through a browser, how the performance of the application is over the browser-based application, which mobile carriers, because we understand each and every user and the sources and the carriers they come in through, performance on the real mobile device, and also the volume of transactions that is coming in through these devices. With the mobile probe that we have, which is the real user monitor for mobile, we do all of the above: performance, understanding the mobile carrier, the real mobile devices, the volume of users, and also all of this from the native applications that could be running on the mobile device. As you can see, it's a very powerful way to monitor mobile applications which are delivering services across the world to the end users for your enterprise application, and brings back control to the IT for applications and end user experience from solutions that will understand the performance of this application from various different locations. There is a very nice white paper on mobile application monitoring available on our website. It's a business white paper, and you can actually go up to hp.com/go/mobile monitoring and download this paper. I will also encourage you to go to hp.com/go/performance anywhere to try the SaaS solution that we have and test it against some of your mobile applications for availability and performance. By the way, while you do that, hp.com/go/performance anywhere is also available to test the application which could be available on your web. It's a SaaS-based solution for both web and mobile. All right, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. Back to you, Doug. If there are any questions I can take.
Okay, we have a question, Kapil. Will HP launch a new Android version KitKat for Android version KitKat, and when will it launch?
Okay, so HP will constantly update the device support. We are working on the newer versions of the operating systems. Android is definitely our high priority. We launched it for the previous version. We have a release of our product towards the next release is when we will update the versions to the next version of Android.
Okay, so that's that question's been answered for Hassan. Now, I don't think we have any additional questions. I can't see any there. So, if someone has a question, please to type it in, and we'll try and get to it. But while that's happening, I'd like to thank for his time today, and certainly encourage people to look at the presentation online if they want to, and share that with their other Vivid members who haven't attended today. And also, I'm sure that if people have questions, they can contact either myself or Kapil, and we'll get those questions answered as well. Okay, and there's I see on the screen here, there's a chance for someone to win an Amazon gift card by I assume that Kapil, you might pay to explain this slide.
Yeah, as I understand that there is a poll will come up whether you can, if you wish to opt in to hear more from HP, and you enter a chance to win a $1.50 USD Amazon gift card.
Okay, all right. So certainly some incentive there, and obviously the links to the white papers are there for people to have a look at as well. So we don't have any more questions. So that concludes today's webinar, and thank you for your attendance. And actually, no, there's a late question. Can we monitor mobile device memory and battery usage?
We do not have the feature available at the moment to do memory and battery usage, but I think it's a good question to take back to product R&D and get some views on that. I will take it down and will respond through email.
Okay, so that's a good outcome. We keep back into the labs to the things that are important for our Vivid members. All right. Well, thank you for your attendance, as I said. Thank you, Kapil, for presenting today's session, and that concludes it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.